And
welcome to Cabomil News and Community Update in English with Korey Riggs and Claudia Velo. Happy 4th of July, Claudia.
happy 4th of July to everybody.
You're listening to this Sunday at 6 p.m. Every week we come to you on 96.3 FM Cabomil, or you can always check us out on Facebook at Cabomil News. It's a great way to check us out on Facebook because you get lots of bonus material, lots of things you're not going to hear on the air. You're going to hear there. Plus, you get to see our beautiful faces. Isn't that right, Claudia?
That's the bonus.
and Claudia, look at where you are today. It's what a beautiful place you're coming to us from. Is that in Cabo somewhere? You don't have to tell us where.
It's somewhere in Cabo. It's on the Pacific side, and it is beautiful. And
wow.
Just the light on the Pacific, it makes everything look more beautiful, I think.
Well, I think that's when I am coming to you live from La Paloma in Tucson, Arizona, which is a beautiful resort. And right below the Catalina Mountains, a place called Finger Rock. There's a rock that looks just like this, way up at the top. It's the best hike ever. Wow. So excited to be. I'm here through the 4th. I'm actually here through the 7th. But it's so nice to be in Arizona. You know why, Claudia?
Why? Tell me.
I went to a restaurant last night and the server came to ask for my order and did not have a face mask on. And
you actually saw a smile.
I saw a smile. We could actually interact. And it reminds you of how much humanity we lose through the face mask because it's just so much more comfortable. It's unbelievable, the difference. And I think that's one of the sad things through this pandemic. I'm not saying you shouldn't protect and all these things, but just the loss of those facial expressions, those micro movements in the face that give us the clues, the emotional intelligence clues that we need as humans. And it was so relaxing to be where no face mask was required. And the other interesting thing is being here because I've been in Cabo for so long. It's weird because I get up to go to the bathroom or I get up and I feel like I need to do something and you don't. You just go do your thing again. It's interesting to see how easily we get trained. And I'm sure we're going to get into that topic today as well. And our last week's show about fear that we had and how to do things to counteract fear, there was a lot of good comments about it and just appreciate people in the audience that listened to it. And, our goal here is to be positive. What can we do? And that's really what today's show is about, is some positive things. We have a great guest, which we're going to get to in a moment. But Claudia, first I want to ask if there's any news.
No, not really. I mean, we're still at level 5. The good news is that we're not closing a lot. The authorities are not closing a lot of the economic activities. So hopefully the forward push will continue. And also 4th of July celebrations, no fireworks this year. Again, that was a decision made by Civil Protection and the health authorities. So no fireworks, no big fireworks in any case. And but also the Secretary of Tourism for the state did make an announcement saying that Loreto, La Paz, and Los Cabos, of course, continue to welcome tourism and they continue to have really good occupancy in flights. So that's all positive, and hopefully we will continue that movement and the epidemic will continue to develop as it will, and things will get better.
I hope so, but I gotta say, it's gonna be hard to get on a plane coming back there when it's completely open from a place. So I just, Cabo still feels open anyway. I mean, it still feels open, even though they say level 5, it's still pretty open and you can do everything. So that's good news, Claudia. I'm glad to hear that.
Indeed.
Anything else? So just so you know, we'll see lots of 4th of July fireworks. So I just want to say that.
I'm a little bit envious, I must say.
Because it is beautiful in Cabo when the whole Medano Beach and all the fireworks go off. It's an incredible, just like New Year's. New Year's in Cabo is also an incredible. So by New Year's, I'm sure there's going to be fireworks there, but I'll send you pictures.
Yes, I hope so. So send us pictures and we will celebrate. I'm going to have a hot dog or something. Just because it's 4th of July and, barbecues must be had, hot dogs must be eaten.
You definitely a hot dog. You got to have a hot dog on the 4th of July.
Yeah, you can
Well,
have
good.
one that's healthier.
Very, very good.
Yeah.
Well, we have lots more to talk about, and we're very excited today because we have a very special guest named Christopher Roberts. And I'm just going to read a little bit about Christopher. He is people first. He's a creative thinker with 11 years of experience and more than 10,000 hours of working with Fortune 500 companies, Hollywood and Silicon Valley. Oh my gosh, I can't wait to talk about that too. Got to get into the history. He's a founder of Solterra and Life Facilitator. His methodology is based on real conversations and mindfulness, based and applied on neuroscience to transform you and your team into highly productive heart group. Oh, I love that, heart group. Christopher, welcome to the show.
Korey, Claudia, thank you so much for the invitation. Thank you for the energy. Thank you for this space. Thank you for your voice. It's extremely important. Thank you for your audience, and hope to be of service today. I'm very honored to be here. Thank you.
No, thank you. First of all, Christopher, tell us about yourself, because just reading the first part of your bio there, working with Fortune 500 companies, Hollywood and Silicon Valley, that is pretty provocative in a really cool way.
I've lived many lives in one. I was born in Boston, and I moved down to Cabo when I was 4 years old. My parents are from Mexico. So it was over 30 years ago, and Cabo was a very, very different place from what it is today. I like to say that I grew up like Mowgli. I grew up free, climbing mountains, going to the beach, my knees scraped up all over the place. And I reached a certain age where I had a lot of different passions. So I had the opportunity to go back to America. Got my degree in Italy, business communications at the American University of Rome, and I had a few work experiences after that. Eventually made myself to Los Angeles and began working in the creative industry with an agency. And so that took me into this process of being able to align creativity and passion, meeting people from different arrays of industries, because when you work in a digital agency environment, you have the opportunity to work with consumer products, with entertainment, with single artists, independent individuals. So the interaction with all these different industries really gave me the opportunity to learn from different people, different nuances and contexts, and going deep down the rabbit hole in terms of digital technology, entertainment. So did that for about 7, 8, 9 years, and then eventually made myself back home. You know, the famous prodigal son story really came true. Came back to my roots, came back to connect to my heart center, connect to this wonderful place, which I believe is a portal, which is Southern Baja, and reconnect with that child that grew up in this land, and have the opportunity to now facilitate a space called Solterra, which is coming alive in Todos Santos.
Yeah, we go ahead, Claudia.
No, it's beautiful, and I find it so inspiring that at such a young age you've traveled so far in terms of your personal journey, because sometimes that's what midlife crises are for many. It's like you go through life, you go through everything you're supposed to do, and then all of a sudden you realize, like, wait a minute, I'm not so happy doing this, and you have your midlife crisis, and then life gets better, hopefully for a bunch.
I've had many of those. I've had one at like 14, one at like 24, one at like 30, one at
yeah.
Many lives in one. Yeah.
I don't
know if I've ever exited my midlife crisis. I don't know. I feel like I just entered it around puberty, and I go, oh, I think I'll do this Friday. No, obviously I've had fun along the way, but I think all of us, we're always growing and figuring out new things, right? I mean, that's what pushes us along.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I believe it has to do with change, and staying curious. I think that, in my personal belief, the key to being youthful forever is staying curious. It's the new discovery. I have the blessing to be the father of a 8-month-old baby that was born here in Cabo, right in the middle of the pandemic. And something that I learned from her constantly is curiosity. Every single moment is a moment of discovery. And so it feels that at certain point along the way, we lose that curiosity. We feel that we can't change, that we get trapped into this character, this identity, or this job, or this path that we're walking, and that it's a fixed state, which is completely false. Because if you see the laws of the universe, which you cannot change, but if you know them, you can work from within, is that change is constant. Everything has movement. So the sun has different activities every single day. The ocean has different motion every day. The wind blows different every day. Air pressure is different every day. UV rays are different every day. The seasons change. So everything is constantly changing around you. And nature, Mother Earth, is telling you that constantly. Gaia is pulsating, and she's showing you change throughout the cycle. And so we feel that somehow we can impose ourselves to that change and remain a fixed being. And so it's going against that motion that sometimes we feel trapped. And so we were talking about this a little bit before. What does this so-called pandemic allows us to do, which is take a pause, slow down. No, Gaia, Mother Nature, saying, slow down. You're going too fast. Take a look. And so when you have a pattern interrupt, when you're from go, 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 and there's a pattern interrupt, that creates space. And so when you create space, all of a sudden that silence becomes very, very loud. And you have no choice but to look at it straight in the eyes and look inwards. And so this is why during this time, many of us have started to question, am I on the right path? Is this the career I want? Is this the partner that I want in my life? Is this the space where I want to live? Should I sell my home and reinvest? Should I get rid of my car that I don't need? Do I have an excess of belongings that become an anchor? Should I simplify my life? So we see this massive, massive awareness and this massive awakening coming through in our community. And I'm sure that we all know different friends and individuals or family members or people around us that somehow are making different decisions during this set time. So this is also an opportunity of rebirth.
The interesting thing I always think about is when you look at this I like how you call it the so-called pandemic, and I like that, but it's a blessing. It's really a blessing. And people look at it like, oh, it's the worst thing ever that happened. 2020 was horrible. All these things that come out. When you start to look at it though, without this happening, these awakenings that are high, I know that I have woke up a lot more during this. It's been incredible. The learnings, my personal learnings, and the people around me as well. And sometimes we forget, without these challenges, we would not be waking up. It's like the butterfly in the caterpillar in the cocoon. If you help that butterfly get out as it's turning into a butterfly, and you take off the cocoon, that butterfly is going to die because it's not building the muscles to be able to push out of that cocoon. And I love that. I love that story. And it's the same thing with us. We have to go through this pain. We have to go through this difficulty right now, because what's on the other side of it is personal growth, or you may not have that personal growth. Not everyone's going to have it. And it's part of this human experience in this lifetime. And it's really what we're doing. And when we start to look at this like an adventure now, this is an adventure. This is what's happening to us right now. What are we going to do about it? That energy changes, and that becomes exciting. And wow, how we're going to get over this challenge. And that's where you come back to what you talked about, the curiosity of the child. And what the Buddha always talked about is always be curious like a child. And just congratulations on an 8-month 8-year-old. I think that's how you say it, right? 8-month-old.
An 8-month-old. Her name is Gaia. So
Gaia. Oh, wow. I was going to ask, that was my next question. What's her name?
yeah,
Gaia.
her name
Oh, that's so
is-
beautiful.
her name is Gaia. But Korey, I'm very aligned with what you're saying. I believe that pain is a wonderful teacher, but the drama is optional.
Mhm.
And so we are going through this individually and as a collective. And so this is also a hidden blessing.
Mhm.
So is this happening to me or for me? And so all we have are circumstances. If you look at it from the Kabbalistic perspective, nothing is ever happening. So when you remain in deep neutrality, it's neither positive or negative. It simply is. And so then you bring your own story to it and you decide, what filter am I going to use for this? And that is your personal power. This is your free will. This is your power of choice. And so in your show, you talk about positivity, and I love that, because we need more of this. We need more of these shows. We need more of these voices. We need more of this content to share that positivity. And from my perspective, positivity ultimately is a choice.
Mhm.
So you choose the circumstance versus the circumstance happening to you. So how does this serve me? And as you mentioned, the butterfly, well, another analogy is an egg. When an egg breaks from the outside, it won't survive. When an egg breaks from the inside, there's birth. And so we're all going through this together. And this is the wonderful opportunity that this particular situation, which is a reflection of the awareness of the entire planet, has created. So I choose to stand from a place of, this is a blessing, this is a massive opportunity, because you've seen people thrive during this time, and you've seen people struggle and go in a downward spiral as well. And so this is our vibration. This is our opportunity to raise the vibration, raise the awareness. We're always on.
Mhm.
So as I speak and as I act and as I have discernment and as I am congruent with my word and my action, not only right now that we're live, but always, then I begin to raise my vibration. And there's other ways to do that as well.
Mhm.
But if I could share something with your audience today,
Please.
is stay curious, always stay curious, overhydrate. I think we are massively dehydrated as individuals. Get some sun, practice some movement within your body. You don't need to be a CrossFitter. You don't need to be running marathons, but hey, go for a walk. As I flew into Cabo yesterday from Los Angeles, flights packed, by the way, which is great for our destination, 4th of July weekend coming up. There was a really interesting moment where I saw a staircase going up to the 2nd floor in the airport, and the automatic staircase. And at that moment, I had to make a choice. What do I choose? What signal am I sending myself, my body, my state, of whether I walk this stairway or I go the easy way? And I chose the stairway. But that moment for me is the epitome of how I live my life. Do I go the easy way? Or do I go the way where I know that there might be some challenge? Because obviously walking stairs is a little bit more challenging, but in the end, I will get a benefit from that versus staying very comfortable in my space. So.
Yeah.
Wow. Such great advice to everyone. And that just talking about walking in nature and being in the sun and getting that vitamin D. I remember, Claudia, we spoke to someone, or we were talking about it, that flu season, when there used to be a flu season, they would say, there's doctors that would say it's not really a flu season, it's a lack of vitamin D season.
Yeah.
And it happens more in the north where there's not as much sun. And again, for everyone, for the immune system, it's so important. And I would add something else, Christopher, to giving people the advice to go walk is walk without your shoes. Get into Mother Earth, get into Gaia, do that earthing, put those feet on the ground, especially on sand. Oh, it feels so good. It's very, very sensual almost to have those feet on the ground. And when you start
sensual and therapeutic, and you integrate a lot of minerals through your feet as well.
Absolutely. Well, we've got just a few seconds left here on this side of the break, but we're gonna keep you with us. Christopher's great, and we want to hear about Soltera. We want to hear about some other things that you're doing, and we'll get into that after the break. And stay with us.
No.
Welcome back to Cabomil News and Community Update in English with Korey Riggs and Claudia Velo on this beautiful 4th of July weekend. And we have been talking with Christopher Roberts and incredible stuff that you can hear on Facebook Live. So you got to go to Cabomil News at Facebook. Lots of bonus material. So you're not hearing everything when you're just listening to us on 96.3 FM. You can actually hear everything and see everything. And we got some beautiful people today on the program. So you got to come see us. And, but Christopher, you were talking about people being stuck in the same way of thought. They're doing the same things every day when we were in the break, and how we create these same neural pathways. And you were making an analogy that they're like arroyos. That's where they go. In English, we have a saying that's when you do the same thing every day, you're stuck in a rut. And a rut that's exactly what happens. And when we just keep creating those same neural pathways, going down that one, the same ones every day, we're just digging them deeper. And it's harder to get out. And to do something different, you have to push yourself outside of your comfort zone. You have to get out. And that's what we were talking about before. That's where the pain comes in. It's going to be painful to do something different. It's going to feel strange, but that's what we have to do if we really want to change. And what a great analogy that you were making over the break. So thank you for sharing that. Again, go listen to it on Facebook, on Cabomil News. Incredible things. Christopher, tell us about Soltera. What is this? What's the project?
Soltera is what I like to call an island of light. Soltera is located in Todos Santos, in the dense greenery in between the historic center and the road that takes you all the way down to Las Tunas. So we're located right in what we call El Manglar, where all the mango trees and all the palm trees are. It's a wellness garden. It's an intention of the heart. It's a place where we must all unite in community. Everything that we're talking about is very much related to whether there's a pandemic or whether you're polarized in different political arenas or ideology, or we're stuck in fear, or we have something going on in our personal lives. And there seems to be a lot of noise right now in the planet, news, in our personal lives. And so Soltera is created as an antidote for that. It's a place of unity. It's a place to come together. It's a place to take a longer pause. So it's beyond whatever ideas you have, whatever your beliefs are, whatever your stance is politically. It's a space to unite. So Soltera is a wellness garden and comes to enter that space to create a balance in our community in Todos Santos. We will focus on Temazcal. Temazcal is our ancient native heritage that we were given by our ancestors here in Mexico. It is the womb of the mother. It's going back into heat. It's going back into darkness. It's going back into that space of healing and giving tribute to Mother Earth. So we will have a Temazcal, and we will have wellness events. And we're building a place where teachers can bring their medicine, whether it's through movement or whether it's through meditation or whether it's through breath work or through yoga. being able to host different shops so that the community can come together. We will have a farmers market. We're working with Axel Gutierrez, who is the director of the Mercado Orgánico, the farmers market in San Jose, which has a very long tradition of ongoing service to the community. And we're opening up the space to bring that farmers market in Todos Santos and being able to use it as a platform for agriculture and our farmers and local artists, so they can bring their products. And we will have a place where you can enjoy also food. Will be called Mother. It'll be very focused on vegetables. We will have some protein, all organic, and all of this together is Solterra. It's where soul and earth unites. So it's an intention. It's in the process of being born, but the intention is that it's going back into your heart center and being able to facilitate what this space wants to be. Whenever you come visit us, Korey, you'll see that it has its own intelligence.
I'll be there next week. I'm coming next week. As soon as I get back, that's where I want to come stay. I just want to live there.
I'll show you the space. So Claudia at the beginning said, I'm trying to recall exactly what the words were, whether it was my project. I don't feel like this is my project. I feel like this is nature's project. Like there's no way that I can take ownership for the land. I mean, the land doesn't belong to anybody. We're just guardians for some time. And then tomorrow there'll be a next generation that'll take over that space. And so the way I see it and the way that I relate to Solterra is I am simply a channel and a conduct for it to manifest in this space what it wants to be, without imposing my personal beliefs or my personal idea. And this is what Solterra should be. So she has her own intelligence. She's been guiding through this entire process. We will be open this fall. So I look forward to welcoming the community.
That's great. Well, we're speaking to Christopher Roberts, who is the founder of Solterra, a life coach, and a very spiritual being, I have to say. My vibration is already higher just talking with him. We've had experience before. We had Inuton on, and Inuton, am I saying it right?
Yep, Inuton.
Inuton. And the same thing, when speaking, it's just this raising of the vibration. And I hope, I'm sure that you can feel it out there when you're hearing it on the radio or watching it Facebook Live, the same thing. So it's wonderful to have you on the show, Christopher. So it's opening in the fall, and it's a place where people can bring workshops. Is there a plant medicine aspect to this as well?
I've gotten a lot of questions around that. The place is open for teachers to bring their medicine.
Okay.
So within that space, plant medicine, which is I'm a big believer of plant medicine, healing with the right facilitators and the right teachers in the right environment. Mm-hmm. I believe in my heart that it's something that will definitely happen as well. There's all types of medicine, as I mentioned, mm-hmm. breathwork, movement, through ecstatic dance, or through cacao ceremony. The plant medicine is definitely a factor and a component within the healing space. So I know that the right teachers will come. I know that who's in resonance will arrive to this space and will bring their medicine. And so my job is simply to facilitate. My job is to create the platform of what Solterra wants to be, so that the teacher that is in vibration with the space can bring their medicine. So
can you also talk a little bit about, I know this, our English speaking audience may not be as familiar. You talked about Temazcal, but maybe just explain more about it. What is the process? What happens? I've done it a couple of times, but you're definitely much more of an expert. And I think it's very interesting for our audience to hear this.
Temazcal is a sacred heritage that was handed down by our indigenous ancestors here in Mexico. And the way that we began our Temazcal process in Solterra was first creating a rooting ceremony. So we find the space in the land. We bring different teachers and different shamans so that they can guide us into where the space should be. We have the door always facing east and aligned with the sun. And so the rooting ceremony is literally creating and digging a hole. All of the members of the ceremony dig a hole in the ground, and we bring different offerings. So it can either be crystals or symbology, or it could be seeds, or it can be flowers. And there's a ceremony that takes place to really, really root and set the vibration and the intention of that temazcal. And then after that, it's built. The way that it's built is with bricks. The one that we did in Todos Santos has laja stone, which is a local stone from Todos Santos. Todos Santos hands, craftsmen made this temazcal. Red brick from Todos Santos as well. And it creates a dome. It creates a dome with a circle, which is an open space at the top to create ventilation for the temazcal. In the middle of the temazcal, you have a fire pit that has some elevation and some depth to protect whoever assists in the temazcal from what we call abuelitas. Abuelitas are translated into grandmothers. These are volcanic rocks. These are ancient volcanic rocks that hold intelligence. And why do we say that they hold intelligence? Well, one, because they're much more ancient than we are. And also because for it to exist, it needs to vibrate. Everything has vibration. And so as it vibrates, it materializes. The higher the vibration, the higher the intelligence versus, for example, a tree or even us. And so as we elevate our vibration, we become crystals ourselves in our body. But going back to temazcal, so these ancient rocks, volcanic rocks, are then heated. There's a ceremony that takes place outside of the temazcal where all of the members in the community that will enter the temazcal create a fire. They put the wood together, and the abuelitas are set inside the logs so that as the fire consumes the wood, it heats up these volcanic rocks until they become fluorescent, incandescent, orange balls of fire, literally. And so that takes a process of about 2 hours to 90 minutes. And there's dance, and there's chants, and there's prayer to elevate the frequency and the vibration. And so once these abuelitas are set, and each member is cleansed and enters the temazcal, we have what we call el temazcalero, which is the lead temazcal, el chaman, and he places the volcanic rocks inside. So once we're all inside, and once the volcanic rocks are inside the temazcal, it is shut and sealed into complete darkness. And so once he's inside, we begin a ceremony. We begin a journey within. And it's through water that, when it comes in contact with the volcanic rocks, creates vapor, creates heat. And the temazcalero controls the tempo, controls the heat. He's almost like the pilot of this journey that we will take. And a lot of different things come up, and a lot of different things show up. And there's usually 4 doors. What I mean by 4 doors means that each single door represents a segment within the temazcal ceremony, which is about 15 to 20 minutes. After those 15 to 20 minutes, the door opens, and we have additional volcanic rocks, abuelitas, come in, and then those go through the same process. And so the heat is a great teacher, and the increscendo of darkness and heat make you extremely uncomfortable. You start,
Oh, yes.
you start going inwards, and you start thinking of a lot of different things that you didn't know were going to show up. But as you sit there in deep neutrality, and you're guided, and you don't stop chanting, the takeaways and the downloads and the expose of whatever it is that your mind is wanting to come up with, a different story of why you should get out of there, when it gets to that space, you look at yourself dead in the eye. So
it's very, it goes back to how we were talking about getting out of a rut. This is one way, is do a temazcal. And it's so interesting too, that it's called the abuelitas, the volcanic rocks, because ayahuasca is also called abuelita. And I've done ayahuasca and I've done temazcal. And I have to say that I feel similar after each experience. And so it's interesting that you don't always need plant medicine to get you to that state. There's the breathing, there's the heat of a temazcal. There's lots of different ways. We have medicine all around us. And I think all of us have to choose which medicine is right for us at the time.
And
thank you for, sorry, go ahead.
No, this is often the medicine chooses you.
Mm-hmm.
Oh,
absolutely.
Not you
Absolutely.
imposing your will, but you allowing the teaching and the medicine to come to you.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
That you both bring up a very important point, the responsibility behind entering a temazcal or engaging in ayahuasca or rapé or any sort of healing ceremony, because it feels that there's been this new age movement of almost not watering it down, but it becoming some sort of recreational activity.
Mm-hmm.
And it's important for me in Solterra that sacred remains sacred.
Mm-hmm.
That we give it the honor that it deserves. That these ceremonies carry a great heritage and a great sense of responsibility of self, of who's leading, and of the space, because we're playing with deep emotions. We're playing with ceremonies that allow people to unfold in different ways. And so having, again, discernment and responsibility is very important. And Claudia said something very important as well, which is the medicine chooses you. It's not for everyone. What works for some person might not work for someone else. I know people that haven't had an ayahuasca experience, but had the Mexican toad experience, 5-MeO-DMT, for example, or have had breath work and have activated DMT through alkaline breath work, and have had great downloads and great healing as well. And so there's not one path. We're all going in the same space. We're all walking ourselves home, as Baba Ramdas so magically told everybody. And so there's different ways to get there, but there's no shortcuts. There's no bypassing. Just because I go into temazcal, just because I go into ayahuasca ceremony means that I'll get there. No, because you will always have to come back and integrate. And integration is one of the key aspects of healing ceremonies, is integrating and giving yourself space and time to really take in what the downloads and what the learnings have been. So you can go the long way, or some people choose suffering and want to go in a straight line, but you'll get there eventually. And so these are all different, ancient and nature giving us its medicine to aid us and to help us and to assist us in this process.
I think you said something so key, is that because there's a lot of people that I know that are, I want to go try ayahuasca. I want to go do this. I want to get my friends and I are going to go out and do that. You have to be so careful about who's leading that, because you're opening up energies, you're opening up yourself, and you need a teacher, a shaman that knows how to protect the space, knows how to protect you. You're opening up everything when you do that. And believe me, if you think you're going recreationally and you drink some ayahuasca, in about half an hour, you're going to realize this was not recreational. And you are going to come face to face with the darkest part of yourself, including that part of yourself that wanted to go do it recreationally. And so when you get called to it, you get called to it, but just you have to honor the abuela, and you have to honor whatever that abuela is to you, and in whatever modality you choose. But such a key thing, Christopher. Thanks for
And abuela ultimately represents wisdom. You know, wisdom and knowledge are very two different things. You know, knowledge has a limit. There's a limit to how much you can know, but wisdom is infinite. Wisdom, there's no roof. Wisdom is a space between where you are and the infinite heavens above. And so wisdom amplifies, wisdom grows, wisdom is harvested. And so these rocks represent wisdom. Una abuela has wisdom. Your grandmother was wise. She saw more, she knew more, she had more experiences. That's why they represent such an important part of our family tree and our family structure, las abuelitas. And there's this beautiful saying that I read once and really stuck with me, that whenever an elder passes, they say that an entire library has gone with them. The amount of knowledge and wisdom and information that we no longer have access to. So I love the term abuelitas, because it really allows us to understand the wisdom that these volcanic rocks that come from within Gaia, our Mother Earth. So it's a gift for us.
Wow, I'm speechless again, Claudia.
Me too. It's good. It's good. It's where we want to go. You know, whenever I've had really deep meditations, you come out of those moments in silence, because you realize there's really nothing to be said. It's all within, and it's about, as you say, Christopher, really integrating those flashes of awareness and trying to bring them to your routine. You know, we try to keep this bliss or this bright moments for a long time, but then as we go back to our daily life, we realize it's about holding on to that essential knowledge while transiting through normality.
Yeah. And we tend to idealize our spirituality. You know, I must always be in bliss. I must always be in this high vibration. You know, and that, at least for me, makes no sense, makes no logic. Because if you look at a wave, you know, when the wave, it's at its peak, it's at its highest, it means it's coming down. And when it's at its lowest, it means the wave is coming back up. So again, this is nature speaking to us. This is nature giving us the information, the laws. And so when we idealize our spirituality as I must always be happy, I must always be in a state of joy, I must always be in a state of bliss. You know? And as above, so below. And so the highs and the lows are the exact part of the wave that we must go through. But when you sit in deep neutrality and you simply become an observer and you don't get caught up on, oh, I'm feeling down right now, so that means that I am down. No, it's simply an emotion that is coming up. So for your audience and who's actually tuning into live Facebook, who can see our beautiful faces and everything that we're doing, if you imagine a pendulum, what happens when the pendulum goes all the way to the right?
It stops and coming back.
It comes back. It comes back with the same inertia all the way to the left. And then it comes back all the way to the right. And so how many times we go all the way to the left and then all the way to the right in our lives? I'm happy, I'm sad. I'm successful, I'm not as successful. I'm feeling a little depressed, I'm really on it right now. And we go through this. You know, I had a great relationship, but then it went sour and I broke up, and then I was by myself. And then we go through these swings. But when the pendulum sits in the middle, it's in neutrality. So your highs aren't so high and your lows aren't so low. And this is where shadow work comes in. This is where integrating your ego. This is a part of you that is not in separation, is not in judgment. but is an integration, is I am this, but I am also this. I am light, but I am also darkness. I am a great, caring, giving, honoring individual. Hey, but sometimes I can be selfish as well. Sometimes I can want extra attention. Sometimes I want to be louder than everybody else because I want my voice to be heard. Well, okay, that's okay too. That's okay. It's all okay. And when you integrate those, you'd have moments and different sparks of genius also from your shadow. And so as I bring that in, I have the opportunity to say, like, wait a minute. So the part of me that wants to be heard, the part of me that wants to raise my voice above anybody else, if left unattended, will be chaos. But what happens if I harness that? That means that maybe I can be the host for a radio show. You see where I'm getting at?
Yeah, absolutely.
And so that's your fire. So when your fire burns out of control, it destroys a village. When your fire is contained, it heats up a home, it heats up a plate of soup. So,
wow.
I'd be
So
channeling here,
so
I'm like,
so
I
many
don't
so
even know where we're
many
going.
so many ideas that come up there. And it's just so true of the shadow work. And instead of having an aversion to those parts of ourselves and staying away from those, we have to love them. And this comes to society. There's a pendulum in society. We go left, we go right, we go left, we go right, and it comes back. And there is a pendulum. We all have a chance to love other people that may disagree with us. And the other thing, the thing I heard the other day is that a sign of low emotional intelligence is when you have such a visceral reaction to someone else's opinion and you cut yourself off from talking with them. And how much are we seeing that right now, especially in the United States with this cancel culture that's going on, instead of just listening to others and loving them? And so the shadow of society is coming up, and we have to learn to love that as well. And all of us have that. I have visceral reactions to people that don't agree with me, and that's that ego that you're talking about. We are right up against the break. Christopher, this has been incredible. Claudia, are we coming back after the break? Just for no, we're not. This is it. So Christopher, we have to say goodbye for the radio. Thank you all. What a great show. Amazing. Claudia, as always. Amazing. Christopher, we'll have you back on. All right.
Thank you, Claudia, yes, Korey.
Namaste.
Thank you so much. Namaste.
You.
If you want to look me up on Instagram, it's love_wolf_. Love Wolf at Instagram. And thank you so much, Claudia and Korey, for creating this space, for creating this message, this container. You don't see this often, and the world needs more of this. So I want to thank you for creating this. It's
Christopher, thank you. And we will make sure that people have your contact information on the Facebook page. And we will see you all next week on Cabomil News and Community Update in English. Happy 4th of July.
Catch you later.